Hi, my name is Minu. I'm a pastor of a First Presbyterian Church here in Guymon, and I am so glad you came by watching over this by internet. Our church congregation now discuss, observing, and talking about season of Lent and Easter together. And today, you're gonna watching two family, which is Redcorn and Hawkins family together. It's gonna be a little bit longer than before, but I hope you can little bit compare with two family and find the meaning of their Lent and Easter together.
When you think of Lent or the season of Lent, what comes to mind?
Um, Probably the sacrifices that God made for us and the 40 days He suffered. And it comes to mind, it not necessarily like giving up something, but the symbolization of, sacrificing something for 40 days, and it just kind of reminds you what God did for us. That's kind of what comes to mind. It's a practice in which we observe to respect and to try and kind of put ourselves in God's shoes in a type of way.
When I think of Lent, I think of Easter and hunting for the eggs as a little kid as one of my favorite memories.
Yeah, I would say, you said that's your favorite Lent
Yeah.
slash Easter memory. I would say my favorite Lent slash Easter memory would be like whenever they hid all those eggs out on the west side of the east side of the church lawn and everything. And because it was just little kids who were searching for them, remember? And for months after, we found eggs everywhere
Yeah.
in the pipes because they didn't find all the eggs because they were just such little kids. And they were just for months. We just kept on finding eggs, and I remember it was all the way till like I don't know. It was November. It was like a Thanksgiving service, and I looked in a plant, and there was an egg in the bottom of it that had been there for who knows how long. And I always thought that was funny. It was hiding. They hid the eggs really good.
What memory do you want your children to have of the season of Lent or Easter? For my kids, I'd want them to have the same memories as me, or us finding the eggs months after, even when they're older, or just finding the eggs as younger kids.
Okay. Yeah, I would say for my future family, I would just want to have I just want them to have a relationship with the church and want to come and do those things, like we do now. Nobody's
Yeah.
forcing us to come. we do it on our own. We enjoy doing those things, and I would hope that my future family wants to come. And
Once a relationship.
yeah, it's just a really good environment to be in.
And community.
Yeah,
All the church people.
and everybody's so kind to each other, and that's what I would hope my future family takes from this is kindness and togetherness of the church. That's kind of what.
Okay, well, when I think of Lent or the season of Lent that comes to mind for me, my earliest memories of that would be of my friends who had observed Lent in the Catholic church that they went to. And so occasionally we'd have conversations where we would be somewhere out, in public or during school, and I'd ask them, about having a pop or doing something else or having a candy bar. And they'd say, no, I've given it up. And so I would always think that was kind of strange. They gave up something. They said, no, I gave it up for Lent. It's not permanent. So that was kind of my first introduction. But I think through the years, as I've gotten older and have learned more about that practice, the thing that sticks with me the most is the idea of sacrifice, that it's important, that it's something that is important is worth sacrificing something like a convenience as a reminder of the importance of Jesus' sacrifice for us. Do you have any ideas for that?
No, I mean, Lent, we never we never celebrated Lent in my house or at my church or anywhere. And I've been a Presbyterian my whole life, but I just remember, and even now as a teacher, it's like Lent is fish at the cafeteria on Fridays. So as people, a lot of people would just give up meat, but only on Friday. And I thought, why only on Friday? But yeah, anyway, that was like what I've thought of it before. I never really thought too much of it, except that when Lent hits, Easter season is soon, and it's going to be spring, and things are growing and coming alive again, and winter's going to be over soon. I mean, that's like the hope of Lent to me.
Sure.
So
for the Lent or the Easter season, do you have any particular memories about Easter that stick out to you?
Okay. When I was a little girl in Colorado at our church, all of the men of the church had to cook Easter breakfast for everybody. And the whole open room was tables, and we're all decorated, and they made pancakes, and they were always really, really good. And we had jelly beans on the table, and that I don't know if they still do that. I have to ask my mom, but I don't think they still do it. But they did it for like my whole childhood. I mean, I remember from when I was tiny doing it, and Dad had to get there early because he was cooking, and I thought, my dad's cooking, and it was great. It was one of those things that you just remember. And then and when the kids are little, it's always fun that they come out and they have baskets, and then they would look for the eggs, and then after they found them all, they would re-hide them and then keep looking for them until it was time to get ready for church. One time Mason kept one, and I didn't know this, and he hid it in his closet. So months later, I had this smell in their bedroom that I could not identify, but I knew it was horrible. And I finally found this crushed Easter egg hidden in the closet of the boys' room. And I don't know how old he was. He might have been about 4 or 5 at the he was little. And I was like, oh my God, you don't keep these. So that was one of my memories with the kids. It was really fun. We always gave him things that were springtime toys, like bubbles and sidewalk chalk and stuff they can do outside, because it's going to be nice outside from now on. So
I remember when I was a kid, my grandmother always gave us movie tickets in our Easter baskets. So that was just one of the traditional things that we always had, this sort of handwritten ticket for a free movie pass at our movie theater that was in town. So whether she had prearranged the payment of the ticket or not, one of the things we always received in our Easter basket was a movie or a pass to the movie that was coming out in that week or that month. So we'd always see the latest Disney film or something like that. So I remember that as being kind of an unusual thing. The other thing that stuck with me as a kid, and it's nice to see my kids do that, was just dyeing the Easter eggs and experimenting with putting colors on the eggs and dipping them in the dyes or dunking them in different colors. Drawing the wax, the symbols on wax. You do the cross or swirl or something like that, something memorable, and then just dyeing the eggs. But I think the overall thing that now, as I'm older and I reflect on that, the important thing was just spending time as a family, just spending time as a group with either, when I was a kid, just doing that with my brother or, with our kids, just going through the activity of just gathering around the table and doing this project of dyeing the eggs. And then of course, seeing their faces when they hide the eggs and find them and re-hide the eggs, and eventually figuring out that we have to switch to plastic eggs because the real ones kind of get lost. And when they do, those are the ones that you find the hard way. So
we still had real eggs.
Well, yeah.
Even Chance was older.
Right. But the plastic eggs, one of the questions that we'd like to know is the favorite memory in our church here that we remember.
Oh, I really like that this church has an Easter egg hunt for the little kids. I've always loved that, because never anywhere else we lived did they ever do that. And that was always the funnest thing, I thought. And just watching those little kids run around and get eggs, and it's really fun. I really, really like that.
Yeah, and even for our kids, as they got older, they would always participate in hiding the eggs for the other kids, because they may not have necessarily wanted to participate in a lot of the other things that they might have thought was silly at the time. But it's funny how the season always makes them more sentimental about the time and what it means, because they remember what it was like to go look for the eggs, and so they tend to like to join in and hide them for the next generation.
We did Easter dinner a lot with one of my best friends. That she has 2 boys, and they were mixed up with ages, like close to our 2 oldest boys' ages. And so we always would hide stuff. And sometimes we'd come to my house, and sometimes we went to her house, and we'd have them everywhere because we made sure we had tons of plastic eggs and with stuff in them. And then the boys would go and get them, and it was really fun to watch that. I remember. I really miss her.
So, for our ideas about Easter in this time, hopefully the thing that we'd like our children to remember about the holiday is just the fun experience about being together, and just the reason to bring families together, whether it's sacrificing time that you think you might have, or you might think it's best spent in other places, but making the time to bond with your family and create these moments, I think, is for us the biggest reason why we love the season as much as we do.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
So how was their interview today? Have you learned something from them, or have some nostalgia that you had something in your youth or your life? I just asking my congregation for this interview that you can talk freely what they want, or they can discuss or put out any of the topic they want to talk. And I learned something from them was everyone talking about Easter hunting, egg hunting, and I may asking session for more meaningful and more beautiful egg hunting this year for our children, so they can remembering and memorize the best history of their Easter experience and Lenten experience too. This series will be continuing until Easter Sunday, and I hope you join us every Thursday, same as like now, and have a time and meaning, thinking of the meaning of Easter and Lent together. May your week and your day have a blessed and love of God with you. See you next Thursday.